So last time we were seeing this first sentence, these 14 lines, this sonnet, which is very complex. Complex not only in terms of understanding who this being is, but also from the point of view of poetic construction. The language, the complexity of clauses, subclauses, going back and forth, is quite unique in that sense. You see. Now it talks of a being stood immortal in transience. He is the delegate of the divine in us, in the phenomenal world, in the world of processes of time or sequence of happenings. A being stood immortal in transience. This being, as we saw earlier, is the secret soul of Savitri. It is from the secret soul that have come out the three Madonnas. A secret being, being of pity, being of power, being of light. These are three Madonnas which saw last time in the early canto, you see. So it is that being now which is standing prominently, because she says, I will come back and give you this, I will give you this, I will give you this thing. After meeting the secret soul. That secret soul, now she is seeing the secret soul in front of her. A being stood immortal in transience. Immortal in transience, obviously that being is immortal, it is deathless, no weapon can cleave it, no fire can burn it, no wind can blow it out. That is what the Gita says. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dhata pavaka. No weapon can cleave it. Chindanti shastrani. The fire cannot burn it. It is that being, you see, immortal. The Vedic phrase for this being is the immortal in the immortal. The immortal in the immortal. And that is, according to the Vedic spirituality, is a psychic being, Agni. Agni is defined in the Vedam as immortal in mortal. It is who takes the evolutionary soul forward. It is for that purpose this immortal being is here. Deathless, dallying, playing with momentary things. He has come here and doing all these things here. In whose wide eyes of tranquil happiness, now that tranquil happiness is such that pity and sorrow cannot diminish it, abrogate it. Pity and sorrow cannot affect that happiness, you see. Infinity turned its gaze, so through that eye, infinity is looking at small things, finite things, little things, these things in transience. It is he who is seeing that thing in transience. Observer of the silent steps of the hours, so that being is the observer of the silent steps of the hour, how the moments take forward, come forward, and the passing scenes of the everlasting play. Passing scene, ours is a passing show, but he is observing all those things, you see. In the mystery of his selecting will, in the divine comedy, he is a participant. He is a participant in the divine comedy. The divine manifestation, the new thing which has to come, it is he who promotes it, who carries it forward. Divine comedy. So the divine comedy is basically a new manifestation, the manifestation of the Spirit in His creation. That is the divine comedy. So in contrast to that, what is the divine tragedy? He is speaking of divine comedy. So what is the divine tragedy? The divine tragedy is, of course, the inconscience. In the inconscience. He is not participating in it, but he is in it. He wants to promote it, take it forward, you see. The spirit's conscious representative. So now this being, he is describing a participant in the divine comedy, a representative of the spirit, delegate in our humanity, comrade of the universe, ray of the transcendent. That is what he is. That little being is, you see. Well, that it is not he, it is she. That being, this being is she, feminine. She had come into the mortal body's room to play at ball with time and circumstance. Unless the divine participates in this creation, the creation cannot move forward. She has to come. Does the divine suffer? Yes, he does, in a way. He is in ignorance, but he is not ignorant. He is not ignorant. He is in ignorance. He is conscious of things, you see. Same thing here also. He is participating in mortality, but he is not mortal. He is not mortal. To play at ball with time and circumstance. To play at ball, so there is that famous photograph of the mother in the sports ground. She is kicking the football, you see. You have seen that. Play at ball. A joy in the world, her master movement here. That is the whole purpose. Joy. To give joy. That play is what? The play of joy. The passion of the game lighted her eyes. So she is enjoying the whole play, whole game. See. A smile on her lips welcomed us bliss and grief. So not only bliss, but also grief. Because she is participating in it. She is welcoming bliss to promote bliss. She is welcoming bliss to promote bliss. She is welcoming grief also to remove grief, to transform that grief into bliss. For both the purpose. All things she saw as a masquerade of truth. See, masquerade, because it is a play. Masquerade is the medieval drama when all noble people used to wear fancy dresses, masks, and do all kind of fancy things like that. See, it is a masquerade of what? Of truth. She is doing that thing. Disguised in the costumes of ignorance. So you wear variety of costumes, you see, and engage yourself in the play there. Crossing the years to immortality. For what purpose? To move closer and closer to immortality. All she could front with the strong spirits of peace. That is the foundation. Whether it is grief, whether it is bliss, whether it is toil, suffering, enjoyment, whatever it is. Unless there is the foundation of peace, nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. There has to be the foundation of peace. That is the basic thing. In fact, it is on infinite calm, the whole world moves on. The other extreme is a kind of luminous passivity of the Supreme. Luminous passivity of the Supreme, which sustains the activity of the Supreme. Without that peace, that passivity, activity cannot happen. See. Or she could front with strong spirit's peace. But since she knows the toil of mind and life, As a mother feels and shares her children's life, she is close, she is there. She is the mother of all those Madonna, mother of pity, mother of power, of might, mother of light and joy. She is the mother of all these things. But since she knows the toil of mind and life, but this poor lady does not know the toil of the physical. She knows only the toil of mind and life. She has to still work to take care of the physical, you see. That is what is going to happen. But since she knows the toil of mind and life, as a mother feels and shares her children's life, she puts forth a small portion of herself. Small portion of herself. She is the ansha. The Sanskrit phrase is ansha, portion. Ansha, small little bit. Ansha. Ansha sanatana. That is what the Gita says. It is the eternal bit which is there everywhere. I am the eternal bit present everywhere. That ansha sanatana. And the Gita also says, mamai ansha, my own portion. You are all here, my own portions. Mamai ansha. A small portion of herself. So she is the transcendental Shakti who is putting herself in every individual as her own being there. And it is that being who stood in front of Savitri now. Actually, this being, there are three things here. One is human Savitri. The second is Savitri as the incarnate divine. And the third thing is Savitri who is always there in the transcendent. It is the transcendental Savitri who incarnates herself here for a certain purpose. And she takes the human form, passes through the portals of the birth that is a death. She accepts the gateway of death to do something here. So that's the human Savitri. Now it is this human Savitri he is seeking her true being, the incarnate being. And that incarnate being is standing behind all those things. A being stood. It is that incarnate being who is standing behind. In the spiritual philosophy, you have essentially Jivatman, the central being. Central being is always in the transcendent, and it is the projection of the central being in the evolutionary process which comes as the psychic being or as the soul and carries it forward. Means unless that Jivatman, that central being is there, the psychic being cannot function here. Now it is therefore that central being and this progressive psychic being which are now coming together. Savitri, her soul, and the central being, they are meeting each other here. But since she knows the toil of mind and life, she will know, obviously. As a mother feels and shares her children's life, she puts forth a small portion of herself, a being no bigger than the thumb of man. Now this is the most famous phrase, Angushta Matra Purusha. Angushta, that is thumb. The Upanishads, there is a specific reference in the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Shvetashwara Upanishad. In three Upanishads, the being is defined as somebody who is not bigger than the thumb of a man, you see. But of course, luminous. Angushta Matra Purusha. Angushta means thumb. Purusha, being, you see. A being no bigger than the thumb of man, into a hidden region of the heart. So he is there seated deep within the heart, in the cave of the heart, Hridaya Guha. Cave of the heart, Hridaya. Heart, Hridaya. Cave, Guha. He is sitting there inside the cave of the heart there. A being no bigger than the thumb of man into a hidden region of heart. Hidden region of heart. Heart, Hridaya. Hidden region, instead of saying cave or guha, he is putting as hidden cave. Into a hidden region of the heart. To face, for what? To face the pang and to forget the bliss. Unless she participates in this creation, she cannot remove the pang and suffering of this creation. To face the pang and to forget the bliss, to share the suffering and endure Earth's woes, and labor with the labor of the stars. The stars are laboring for what? They are constantly laboring to give us light in the darkness of the night. That is the labor. And it is what she is doing here. In the night, in the darkness, she is laboring to take us to light. Labor mid the labor of the stars. That is the labor of the stars. Thus, this in us loves and weeps. This stands for, again, that being. That being. By the way, grammatically, as I told you last time, that this is this being. Now, in the mystery of his selecting will, mystery of his selecting will. Now that this is stands for mystery. It is not for being. It is for the mystery. Same way, infinity turned its gaze. Just 2 lines. Infinity turned its gaze. It stands again for infinity. Infinity turned into infinity's gaze. It is not that it is not for being. Because that being is very well defined very late in the passage by she. Got it? So this she, yes, she is that being.
The being.
Yeah,
Okay.
she is that being. She is the feminine. You see. Because she has to be she. Because this whole creation, it is her creation of the Divine Mother or Divine Shakti. She is projecting herself. She is projecting herself. Therefore, she, you see. It is not he. Well, that is definitely there in Shri Bindhu Savitri. When you come to the Vedic literature, Upanishadic literature, soul is not called she, it is called he, Purusha, Angushta Matra Purusha. No bigger than the thumb of man.
But the psychic being is she.
She.
Psychic being is she, Purusha is he.
Purusha is he, yeah.
Psychic being is she. Yeah.
See, here, the thumb of man, a being no bigger than the thumb of man. The Upanishadic phrase is Angushta Matra Purusha, man. The soul is defined as the Purusha, man. But Shri Bindhu is making she, feminine. See. So there is a difference between the two, you see. Well, actually,
She here means Savitri.
Savitri is supreme being. Supreme Savitri, that is she. That she is.
This is the human Savitri.
Huh?
The human Savitri.
No. She puts forth. The Supreme Savitri puts forth of something of her own.
So she, this is the supreme.
Prince Savitri.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole description is of the Supreme Savitri. She is doing delegate, comrade, all those things which are there. They are coming from her, Supreme Savitri. No, that is a being. No, this being here is actually in Savitri, in this passage, corresponds to the being in the first line. A being stood. Yeah. So that is she.
It is a Purusha.
That is she. That is she. But what I'm trying, when he is giving the comparison, Shreyabendu is using the phrase bigger than the thumb of man. That does not still make this being man. It does not make this being a man. And what I'm trying to tell you is that this phrase, thumb of man, is an Upanishadic phrase. Angushta matra, thumb of man. It is an Upanishadic phrase. In the traditional Vedic and Vedantic literature, this being is defined as the Purusha. Mamai Ansha, I, Sri Krishna himself says, my part, as Purusha. In all the earlier traditions, it is defined in terms of man, Purusha. It is in Savitri you have a specific description of it as the feminine aspect. One who is carrying things forward, who is doing things, the executive, that is the aspect of. So that distinction between the old spirituality and what we have in Savitri has to be fully understood. I mean, don't confuse that this thumb of man means in Savitri, Purusha. A being no bigger than the thumb of man. Into it, in other words, this being, this part, a small portion, it is the portion of the Supreme Savitri which is put here. And that portion is very small, little like that. Into a hidden region of the heart, to face a pang and to forget the bliss and labor with the labor of the star. This in us, again, that this, same thing, a being no bigger than the thumb, or that being who stood. What I am trying to say is, you have to understand the earlier its with infinity and with mystery. This stands for being. The most difficult things in Savitri are three words. Most difficult. He, she, and it.
It's really, you're right. It's really true. Then you're reading a completely lost.
Yeah. Most difficult words in Savitri. He, she, and it. You see. This in us loves and waves, suffers the stroke, yes, because she is participating in this creation, exults in victory, struggles with the crown. So she is doing everything, exults in victory, struggles with the crown, identified with the mind and body and life. Now here you have got mind and body and life. Earlier you had only mind and life, you see. It takes, now this it, you see again. No, this, you see grammatically, this it stands for this. And this stands for a small portion. No, that is grammatically I'm trying to link you.
But it's the same.
Yeah. See, no, what I'm saying, this it is different than the it which you had seen earlier. In one case, it was mystery. In the other case, that it was infinity. Here, this it is a portion. So, as I told you, really, these three words, these pronouns are most difficult in Savitri. Where are we? Yeah. This in us laughs and weeps, suffers the stroke, exults in victory, struggles with the crown, identified with the mind and body and life, it takes, again, now that it stands for that portion, who is no bigger than the thumb of man, bleeds with fate's whips and hangs upon the cross. It bleeds with fate's whips. This is what happened in the case of Christ. He was carrying the cross and he was being flogged. flagellation, he bears that thing. He hangs himself upon the cross. Yet he is the unwounded and immortal self, supporting the actor on the human scene. So it was not really Christ, the divine, who was suffering, but the Christ who was on the human scene. He was suffering. This reference is very clearly for Christ. Whips, he was being flogged as he was carrying the cross on the Via Dolorosa. He was being flogged, you see. Hangs upon the cross, yet is the unwounded and immortal self, supporting the actor on the human. Unless the support is there, he cannot work here. The divine Savitri is supporting human Savitri to take the burden of fate. She has to meet the challenge of death. She has to face death, you see. She has to bear the whips of fate. Now, this phrase, laughs and weeps, this appears 3 times in Savitri. Here, of course, it is 126.5. This in us, laughs and weeps. The other one is 106.172. His moments part, once done upon life's stage, which for a time was given him from within, to other scenes he moves and other players. That is what happens. You are given a certain part, you play that part, go from this scene to the other scene, act like that. And laughs and weeps meet faces new and known. So you see constantly different faces, and you mingle with them, you laugh with them, you quarrel with them, and go on. Laughs and weeps meet new faces unknown. And the third occurrence is 146.44. He wallows in mud, yet heavenward soars in thought. He plays and ponders, laughs and weeps and dreams. He has added here extra word, dream. Laughs and weeps and dreams. Satisfied his little longings like the beast, he pores upon life's book with student eyes. Now this phrase, why I am saying this one, why I am referring to this one, because this is a phrase Shivendu has picked up from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. Pilgrim's Progress, that is the most famous book in the English literature, and it is said that it is sold, its copies, the number of copies of this book which have been sold is greater than the number of copies of Bible. Pilgrim's Progress. It is an allegory where he is describing the search of his soul to the city of God. He is moving towards the city of God, Christian. The character's name himself is Christian, and is going through all the phases of life, and ultimately he will reach the city of God. While he is moving to the city of God, he of course goes through all kind of experiences. Then sometimes he laughs, sometimes he weeps. The whole process. So this laughs and weeps is a phrase actually coming from that book. It is a part of human journey of happiness and sorrow mixed together, mingled together on its pilgrimage to God. Laughs and weeps. Therefore, this inner laughs and weeps, suffers the strokes, exults in victory, struggles for the crown. This is very, very interesting. You see how exactly, this is exactly the phrase which appears in that book, Pilgrim's Progress, you see. And in one place, of course, he has modified by adding a dream. Loves and waves and dreams, you see. To this, now you see, this it was referring to that portion. Now we are coming in. Through this, she sends. That she stands again for that being, the divine Savitri. Through this, what is this? This portion. This is this portion. And she is that transcendental Savitri. Through this, she sends us her glory and her powers. How does she act? She acts through our soul. Sends us her glory and her power, pushes to wisdom's heights through misery's gulfs. She gives us strength to do our daily task. And sympathy and that partakes of others' grief, and the little strength we had to help our race, we who must fill the role of the universe, acting itself out in a slight human shape, and on our shoulders carry the struggling world. Why does she do all that thing? Why does she help? That we may fill our role in the universe. Why does that great lady, she sends, etc. For what purpose? That we may play our role in the universe. That's the whole objective. And for that, she is taking all these pains, all these troubles. Now again, this in us, the Godhead, small and marred, that portion, that part, you see. In this human portion of divinity, she sees, you see again, that's this she and this and this she, you see. She sees the greatness of the soul in time to uplift from light to light, from power to power, till on a heavenly peak it stands a king. Now again, this it, it stands a king. This Godhead who is small and mad in us, it is he who has to go further up. She sees the greatness of the soul in time to uplift from light to light, from power to power, till on a heavenly peak it stands a king.
So what is the it here? It, the portion here?
It, that portion, that human portion. In body weak, in its heart, an invincible mind. Of course, this is stands for body. In body weak, in its heart, an invincible mind. It climbs stumbling, held up by an unseen hand, a toiling spirit in a mortal shape. So he is elaborating the description of that portion further. Here, in this chamber of flame and light, they met. Chamber of flame and light. Now this toiling portion, this is, and she means human Savitri soul and the divine Savitri soul. They are coming and meeting in this chamber of flame and light. She was told, go like this, on the altar you see a burning fire and all that. She is approaching that. Here in the chamber of flame and light, they met. They looked upon each other, knew themselves the secret deity and its human part. They knew who she is, who she herself is. This is stands for deity, the secret deity and its human part. The calm immortal is the secret deity. And the human part is struggling soul. Then, with a magic transformation speed, they rush into each other and grew one. The divine Savitri and human Savitri's soul, they are now rushing into each other and they have grown into one. Here in the chamber of flame and light they met, they looked upon each other. So Savitri is seeing a divine Savitri. Divine Savitri is meeting the human Savitri. They are looking into each other's eyes. They know each other already now, who she is. And they come and merge into each other. Then with a magic transformation speed, now this transformation speed is not in the sense of what we normally call Shivandu's transformation, the physical, mental, vital. It is not in that sense here. Magic transformation speed, transformation here the psychic transformation, change. They rush into each other and grew one. Magic, how it happens, it cannot be described. It's magical. How they are rushing into each other. Now, we'll see some of the paintings. You can see one small human Savitri here and one big Savitri here. Pardon me?
There is a male.
Yeah, that's right. The bigger one is the male. And the other one is small one is this human Savitri. Now here they are looking into each other. Now I don't know why she has made this male. Why this is male? The description is absolutely clear that it is she.
Yeah, but you said that the human part, the small being.
It is insistently it is she. Human part is all right.
The Supreme Savitri, she.
Yes.
And the being Savitri.
Is also she.
Also she.
Of course.
So it's not good that she.
Exactly. Yeah. This small picture is human Savitri. The small picture is human Savitri. The big picture is that big she, the divine Savitri. I am not very happy with this painting from that point of view. It does not represent the she aspect of it. It's very clearly male. You can see the mustaches also.
Mother must have.
No, in fact, that is exactly what I would like to check.
Who did this painting? Huta.
This is a painting by Huta. The sketches were made by the mother. Now, of 468 paintings of Huta, mother has not made the sketches of all those 468 paintings. She has made sketches of only about 350. So whether it is mother's sketch or Huta's sketch, I can't say that. If it is Huta's sketch, then I think definitely is wrong. If it is mother's sketch, then I am totally puzzled.
I think she wanted to depict the Purusha there.
Huh?
She wanted to depict the Purusha there.
I don't know. I mean, how.
She wanted to depict the soul and the psychic mother and Shraddha.
Look, I mean, she is representing meditation on Savitri. The whole work is called Meditation on Savitri. Book 7, Canto 5.
Is the being in English is male or female?
Well, I mean, in this particular context, it is definitely she. Being is otherwise in English male.
And Huta, she was more French or English? Because
Huta was more English.
because in French the being is
No,
male.
Huta was more English. Huta was definitely English, more English. Yeah. Actually, she lived in London for a long time before she came here. Yeah.
Speak French.
Yeah.
So maybe for mother.
No, I don't know. This is an anomaly to me.
Oh,
And the only thing I would like to check whether this particular sketch was made at all by the mother. If it is by mother, then I am puzzled. If it is by Huta, then I will dismiss it.
But I thought mother authorized all the paintings and she saw all the paintings, I thought.
Yeah, but then mother would not say afterwards that. You see, mother will, your vision, okay, go ahead. Mother will not interfere with that.
This is male changes.
No, no, mother will not interfere with that.
Oh, but you
Nah, that creative freedom is given to the artist. Mother will, you see.
even if there's a
Oh,
substantial.
what does she say? Your English, your the French book?
what he said, that's what I wanted to tell you, the last sentence, when you say, he says, so when they rushed into each other.
Yeah, in fact, we are coming to that.
This sentence, we cannot imagine two females who rushed into him.
Male and female, we can't rush like that, huh? Right?
No, it must be male and female.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. That is our. No, 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 no. In fact, I am coming to that. I am coming to that also. No, no. This is definitely not acceptable to me if I go by the text. What we have here.
Yeah.
It's absolutely clear. She, and here is a face with mustache, big nose. What do you say? You are a painter?
I can't say anything, I don't know.
Yeah.
She with a big nose and
I mean, the painting is all right, very beautiful, very imaginative, very original. All those things okay, but it is not the textual representation.
In France, the they rushed.
Yeah, and we are coming to that.
They cannot, we cannot use in French they as neutral. They must be or female or male. So
No, no, no.
But no, in French.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
cannot say, we don't have they as neutral.
Yeah.
Here they could be female, could be male.
Yeah.
But in French, we are obliged to define.
Yeah,
or
yeah, I
il
know.
or elle.
Yeah, yes,
Understand?
yeah,
So
yeah.
here he put il.
Both are ill. No, that is.
No. He put il because I think
It has to be LL.
there is one L and one il. So then we put
It both have to be LL.
both.
Both, yeah. She is a portion. Anyway, now see here in the next painting, you can see Savitri is approaching her divine soul. Here, what do you see? Do you see here a male or female
Where? Which number?
in this painting?
Which number?
No, no, in this painting I'm saying.
The painting.
That big picture, that with the aura and all that. See, here you can see very clearly divine Savitri, sorry, it's a human Savitri, and here is a divine she. It's a feminine picture.
For me, the Supreme,
No?
Supreme Savitri that doesn't have any sex. The Supreme Savitri doesn't have a sex, female or male.
You see, the text is very clear. She. It's a divine power, divine mother. You see.
You mean according to the text?
Yes.
Okay, but according to the text also, he spoke a lot about the being.
No, but being he is defining specifically, explicitly by calling she.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
By calling her she, he is explicitly defining that. That is indisputable. Now you can see Savitri is rushing to the divine soul in this painting. You can see that. In fact, I got a question about that also, but we'll see. First, let us see this part. Now, in this painting,
Small part.
Small part and big Savitri.
Yeah, it's she.
She, here is she. Yeah, this is absolutely she, see. Well, yeah, now you can very clearly see here, Savitri merging, they merge into each other with magic transformation speed, rush into each other. Here you can see. You can see the way Savitri is rushing. What I miss here is the divine Savitri should also rush. They rush into each other. It's not only this, she is also rushing. But here this lady seems to be still.
Yeah, exactly. The painting is not correct.
Yeah. Here absolutely no movement, no gesture, no effect of that kind at all. The way you see Savitri really rushing into her, very powerful and very sweet also. I would like to see the other one also coming and joining her from the other side and rushing from above, and she is rushing from below. Because the text is very clear. They rush into each other and grew one, became one with magic transformation speed. So I think, I don't know, I mean, maybe it is very improper, impolite, sacrilegious to comment on these Huta's paintings. You see, to be critical, you see. From the point of the text, I find a lot of differences like that. Not only in this painting, this is a very glaring example. In other places also, there is a discretion, there is a discrepancy between the painting and the text. It's not telling. Then with a magic transformation speed, see, both of them are speeding into each other, see, rushing. They rush into each other and grew one.
What is magic here? The
Magic,
transformation or the
he says, is indefinable.
No, I'm asking, what is magic? The speed or the transformation?
Speed,
Speed.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Then with the magic transformation speed, they rushed into each other and grew one. So this is the beauty of Savitri's soul, human Savitri and divine Savitri becoming one in just powerful 10 sentences, the whole description. And we have half a dozen of paintings by Huta about this particular passage itself, you see. She says, they looked into each other. That painting, male, female, what we saw, they're not really looking into each other, you see. The calm, immortal, and struggling soul. But the beauty is of those paintings, calm, immortal is very, very visible on the face of that big painting, that big Savitri. The struggling soul, the beauty is that she is rushing into her divine counterpart. But that struggle is not a human struggle. It is not that human pang with which she is struggling and moving. Painting shows something very sweet, something very beautiful, something very powerful which is going from her and merging into her. It's not struggling in that sense at all, you see. It is spontaneous, very beautiful, very sweet, very harmonious. They're becoming one into each other. Then with a magic transformation speed, they rushed into each other and grew one. I don't know whether we should comment on those paintings, but I think we should. They have been kept secret all along. People should come forward and look into those paintings with a critical eye, with an intuitive eye, with an artistic eye perception, with also trying to see a kind of faithfulness of those paintings with the text. That is important to see. It is absolutely clear, she. Nowhere you have got a he. You see, the divine Savitri and the human Savitri. Well, so they have become one when Savitri was in the deep spiritual trance. They have become one, the spirit's trance. She has identified herself and become one with the divine Savitri. But when she comes out of the trance, what is Savitri? She is still human Savitri. She is still human Savitri. She is still sleeping with her husband there in the cottage. All the human aspects are still there. Divine soul has found, her soul has found its oneness with the divine soul. But what about human Savitri? Still she is the same as she was. You see. Once more she was human upon earthly soil, in the muttering night, amid the rain, swift woods. So while the whole drama, inner drama is going on, the divine comedy is being worked out, played. Outside there is the tempest, there is a loud wind, monsoon is raging there in the woods. In the muttering night amid the rain, swift woods, and the rude cottage where she sat in trance. So all that happened in trance, you see. That subtle world withdrew deeply within, behind the sun veil of the inner sight. So there is the veil of the inner sight, and behind that veil, that whole world has disappeared. And what happened then? But now the half-opened lotus bud of her heart, while she has withdrawn, in the case of the human Savitri, half-opened lotus bud of her heart, Hridaya Kamal, lotus Kamal, heart, Hridaya Kamal, it is slightly opened out. It has just blossomed out slightly, you see.
But they rushed into each other. How can it be only slightly open? It must be a full realization.
No, it is because she is still human.
But this is the realization of.
That is all over. Now he is going to the next step.
But here this is the realization.
They are merged into each other, soul to soul, but still human Savitri is human Savitri.
She didn't have the realization of the psychic.
Of?
The psychic realization.
No, she has to now see the outer nature of hers also.
But with the psychic realization, which is already past her now.
Soul's realization is different than your total realization.
Yes.
Now it is now towards that the narrative is proceeding.
Yes. But she has the psychic realization now.
But she is withdrawn now, that has withdrawn, that realization. He says no very clearly. Once more she was human upon the earthly soil. She sat in peace and that withdrew deeply within.
So it has been withdrawn, so she cannot count on this.
Well, I mean, she because there is a veil of the inner side.
But after the last sentence, when
In other words, discovering the soul is not the entire part of the story.
But
It is a definite beginning.
it's a landmark.
It's something many things have to happen after that. The real things have to start happening after that.
Yeah, but you have that with you.
No, that is there. Now it's fixed. Soul is found. Soul has become one. But now what happened about your nature, about your personality? That
Purification starts now.
you call it purification, whatever it is. My soul is my body, my mind, my physical, all those things are there as they are. You see. Therefore, she is human.
but
Yeah.
before the beginning of this section, what happened when he said they rushed into
Each other.
Is there any realization here? They
There is
rushed
a
into it.
there is a realization of the soul and over soul getting fused into each other.
Okay, only. Yes.
Yeah, that is all.
Right.
That is all. Discovery of Savitri, soul, means that. The soul and our soul, they are fused into each other. They have become one. But that is the beginning of a bigger chapter. The real chapter now starts from this onward. The luminous chapter begins with this. Until now, they were all dark chapters.
She's still human.
New canto starts of life, you see. Once more she was human upon, in other words, the poet, the yogi, is absolutely conscious of what he is writing. He has solely discovered, so what? What about the whole thing? The yogi is moving forward now. Once more she was human upon earthly soil, in the muttering night amid the rain swift wood, and the rude cottage where she sat in trance. That subtle world withdrew deeply within behind the sun veil of the inner side. But now, well, this has happened, but still something has opened out in her heart. Hridaya Kamala has slightly opened out here. Half opened lotus bud of the heart had bloomed and stood disclosed to the earthly ray. He says half open. You see that half is important. It's not fully open.
Yeah, that's surprising for me.
It's not fully open, it's half open because that part is over, but what about the other part? What about the other part?
But she's working on the soul.
Soul is not all. See, soul is, so that is the half of it. But the other half of your nature, of your whole thing, which is all here around, what about that? That has also to open out. And that is what is going to happen. But now, the half opened lotus bud of her heart had bloomed and stood disclosed to the earthly ray. In an image shone, revealed her secret soul. There was no wall severing the soul and mind. That's the beauty of it now. Mind is open to the soul. No mystic fence guarding from the claims of life. In its deep lotus home of her being sat, in its deep lotus home, her being sat. Her being sat in the lotus home. As if on a concentration's marble seat, in the seat of meditation, calling the mighty mother of the world to make this earthly tenement her house. Now that is the next half to be opened out. One half has opened. In her deep home of the lotus, her central being is seated there. But now that has to work out other part of it, the other half of it also. Calling, she has to call down the mighty mother of the world to make this earthly tenement. Yes, please come down and live on this earth here, in this terrestrial world, you see. As in a flash from a supernal light, heavenly light, celestial light, a living image of the original power, a face, a form came down into her heart. So that lotus has opened out and something now from above is entering into her heart where that opening has come out. When the heart's lotus has opened, then the Supreme Power can come and sit there. As in a flash from a supernal light, a living image of the Divine Savitri, of the original power. That's the original power. A face, a form came down into her heart and made of it its temple and pure abode, made of it, of that heart, of that heart, a temple and pure abode for the original power. But when its feet had touched the quivering bloom, that bloom which is now opened out here, its feet of that original power, of that supernal light, when it touched its feet, had touched the quivering bloom, a mighty movement rocked the inner space, as if a world was shaken and found its soul out of the inconscient, soulless, mindless night. A flaming serpent rose, released from sleep. So this has opened out the divine power is pressing her feet in the heart, and with that pressure, this flaming serpent is getting awakened. This is the beginning of Savitri's Kundalini getting awakened. A flaming serpent rose, released. Until now it was asleep. Now the beauty here is, now we have got the entire description of the Kundalini, of the serpent power which is there in our subtle body. The beauty of this whole thing is, all this is happening in the case of Savitri after she has found her soul. That is the most important thing. Once you have found the soul, then if the divine power enters in you and awakens your latent energies, then it is safe. It is then, everything is then in the hands of the divine power. Otherwise, you can get lost, you can get betrayed, you can be gone totally, you see. There is the absolute safety of the divine power working in the human nature when the soul is fully awake. The fusion of divine Savitri and human Savitri is such that with the awakening of these lower energies, it will not get shaken over at all. It will not get affected. It will not get betrayed by anything at all, you see. That is the absolute safety. That is the sunlit path. Awaken your soul first and then do all these things, you see. Therefore, before you start Kundalini Yoga, see that this is achieved. Before we start the Kundalini Yoga, half-opened lotus of the heart is there. When that opens out, then the divine energy enters in, and then it awakens all the latent energies which are there within you. Without that divine energy, without that divine presence there, if the latent energies rush up, they will kill you, spoil you, destroy you. This is a great danger, you see. In fact, that is the big lesson here. Don't rush to Kundalini Yoga without realizing your soul. A flaming serpent, obviously he is a bright, beautiful serpent, divine serpent himself, fully there, lying asleep there, released from sleep, he is asleep there. Kundalini, a roundup, like that, sitting there deep within. It rose, billowing its coils, and stood erect, and climbing mightily, stormily on its way, it touched her center with its flaming mouth, one after the other. All the centers in the subtle body are getting touched by this energy. As if a fiery kiss had broken their sleeve, they bloomed and laughed, surcharged with light and bliss. This is what happens now, surcharged with light and bliss, when that energy is rising up and touching center by center after that. 7 centers, we'll see them one after the other now here. It rose, billowing its coils, and stood erect, and climbing mightily, stormily on its way. So, mightily, stormily, when the Kundalini rushes, it rushes with that kind of a force. So, if you are not prepared to bear that stormy might, will be gone. You have to have strength, Adhar, Shakti, to even awaken that Shakti within you, you see. To be able to bear the impetuosity of this force. And climbing mightily, stormily on its way, it touched her centers with its flaming mouth. Flaming serpent with flaming mouth. As if a fiery kiss had broken their sleep, their stands for centers. Centers. They bloomed and lofts are charged with light and bliss. Of course, they against those centers. Then at the crown it joined the eternal space. So this is really what happens. This is the real Kundalini. In the traditional Hatha Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Raja Yoga, the Kundalini rises from below and goes up. Here it is happening after the discovery of the soul. It first, the divine soul first presses her feet on your heart, and then it awakens the Kundalini. And then the rest begins. In fact, you don't have to awaken it. It awakens by itself then, when the divine. Then the crown, it joined the eternal space. In the flower of the head, in the flower of matter's base. Flower of the head, lotus here, base down below. Now here, it is more than the traditional top and base of the Kundalini. In the case of the traditional yoga, the base is what is called the Muladhara at the bottom, and head is the Sahasrara head. You see then, it is from there. But here, matter's base down below still. Means the entire region from inconscious to the subconscious is being now swept by this flaming serpent rising from below. Flower of the head in the flower of matter's base. In each divine stronghold and nature knot. Now, of course, there are different names for these centers. They are called sometimes knots, they are sometimes called forts, which protect you against adversaries. Fort. To protect you. Fort. It's called a fort also. It's called a knot also. Granthi, knot. It is called a lotus. It is called a chakra wheel. So all these are simultaneous. 7 forts, 7 knots, 7 chakras, 7 lotuses. In each divine stronghold, therefore he is using stronghold in the context of fort. Each is a fort, protecting you against adverse forces. It held together the mystic stream which joined the viewless summits and the unseen depths. Now this is the sweep of this flaming serpent. Viewless summits, perhaps even far above the head, Sahasrara. Unseen depths, down below into the inconscience. And these two ends are joined by whom? By the mystic stream. The superconscient and the inconscient, they are joined by the serpent energy, which is now flowing like a stream. Flowing like a stream. It held together the mystic stream. Mystic, obviously, is all happening in the world, in the occult world. We join the viewless summit. See, in fact, in the Veda, there is a description. He is describing, the Rishi is describing the creator, or whom should we call the whole thing, whose neither the head or the feet are visible. Neither the head nor the feet are visible. What you see is something only in between, the interim part of it. The superconscious is beyond your gaze. The inconscious is not accessible to you. So either you are seeing a person, a being, whose neither the head nor the feet you can see. This is what you got. Viewless summits and the unseen depths. The string, you see, there are force. You see, this is force. You see, the string of force that make the frail defense, safeguarding us against the enormous world. So this is the medieval image fort for the army protection and all that against the enemy. Our lines of self-expression in its vast, an image sat of the original power. We had that thing earlier also. Image of the original power. It is that image of the original power now. An image sat of the original power, wearing the mighty mother's form and face. So she is there herself present. Therefore, nothing wrong can go. No evil, no style can attack you. So this is what has happened. The moment in the half-opened lotus of her heart, the divine power pressed her feet on it. Suddenly the serpent rose, and then the mighty mother is standing there behind. An image sat of the original power, wearing the mighty mother's form and face. Armed, who is that mighty mother? Armed, bearer of the weapon and the sign. What is the weapon she is wearing? Trident, Trishula. Trishula. Trident.
Mighty Mother wears the trident.
She is wearing the weapon. Yeah. What is it? Why it is the three armed? Triple. Trident. Trishula. Well, as a weapon on the physical, on the vital, on the mental. To act upon them. At the same time, the triple stands for Satchit Ananda, the divine existence itself, Satchit Ananda, triple form. It is that weapon she is wearing of truth, of consciousness, of joy. So in the upper part, it is that Satchidananda weapon. Below, to deal with physical, vital, mental weapon. And what is the sign? The mother's symbol. The divine power in the center, 4 of her personalities, each one having her own sub-personalities, 12 petals. That is a sign. So she is bearing that mighty mother, whose occult might no magic can imitate. That is important, you see. It is foolproof. It is a kind of hieratic form. You can't draw that image at all. You may draw a swastik and deceive people, but no, not this one. Whose occult might no image can imitate. Manifold, yet one she sat, a guardian force. So she, the mighty mother, she the guardian force. A savior gesture stretched her lifted arm. So she is raising her arm like that, hand. Abhaya mudra. What we got? Abhaya mudra. You are all safe, you are protected. Abhaya mudra. Lifted arm, stretched her lifted arm, and symbol of some native cosmic strength, a sacred beast lay prone below her feet. Sacred beast, of course, the lion. So this is the picture of divine Durga standing there. A silent, flame-eyed mass of living force. So that is what Durga is. Flame-eyed of a living force. And when she is there, full protection is there. Actually, it is this Durga Savitri was worshipping on the fated day, early in the morning. The day on which Satyavan was to die, she gets up early morning and she worships Durga, before she goes to the forest along with her husband. A sacred beast lay prone below her feet, a silent flame-eyed mass of living fold. All underwent a high celestial change. So now that power has pressed that bloom, half-open bloom in the heart of Savitri, and with that thing, the divine Shakti, the serpent, has risen in a subtle physical body. It is rushing up now, joining the base and the summit together. And as a result of that, a high celestial change has taken place in Savitri. So that is what happens after the discovery of the soul. All underwent a high celestial change, breaking the black inconscious blind mute wall, effacing the circles of the ignorant. Powers and divinities burst flaming forth. My God, see, one after the other, all the powers and divinities are rising up and coming forward, breaking the black inconscious blind mute wall, effacing the circles of the ignorant. Powers and divinities burst flaming forth. Each part of the being, trembling with delight, lay overwhelmed with ties of happiness, and saw her hand in every circumstance, and felt her touch in every limb and cell. Cell in the country of the lotus of the head. Here, lotus of the head, Sahasrara, 1,000-petaled lotus, Sahasrara as it's called. So that is the first thing. So this is the real center, but that center has been presently occupied by the thinking mind. Has made its basis firm. Then in the castle of the lotus twixt the brows, here, Ajna Chakra. So first, he has touched the Sahasrara, now Ajna Chakra. In the castle of the lotus twixt the brow, whence he shoots out the arrows of sight and will. Sight and will. This is the center of knowledge and will. Sight stands for knowledge. It is a center that. In the passage of the lotus throat, Vishuddha. This is opened. Now this one, Vishuddha. In the passage of the lotus of the throat, where speech must rise and the expressing mind. This is the one which gives expression. The word comes from here. Word means expression. What has to be affected? You have knowledge and will here, but that knowledge and will, if it has to manifest, has to express itself, then this center has to open out. In the passage of the lotus of the throat, where this is the third center, Vishuddha, where speech must rise and the expressing mind, and the heart's impulse run towards the word and fact, a glad uplift and a new working came. The immortal thoughts displaced our bounded view. With these three centers opening out, the immortal thoughts urge drab idea and sense. All things now bore a deeper, heavenlier sense. Obviously, because he has started with that thing also. He started with, all underwent a high celestial change. That high celestial change, here. All things now bore deeper, heavenlier sense. Now, grammatically, these two lines. The immortal thoughts displaced our bounded view. Obviously, mental view. The immortal thoughts urge, drive, idea and sense. He has repeated the subject, but left the verb in the second line understood. Grammatically, the immortal thoughts displaced our bounded view. The immortal thoughts displaced us, drive, idea and sense. This displace is to be understood here, grammatically. the immortal stars, earth, trap, idea, and sun. All things now bore a deeper, heavenlier sun. A glad, clear harmony marked the truth's outline, reset the balance and the measure of the world. So if three lotuses open, these three centers open, they themselves can set the balance and measure of the world. Already with these three, the balance of the world is set. What the other centers will do is a separate thing. But these are enough if you want only the balance and measure of the world. Each shape showed its occult design, unveiled God's meaning in it for which it was made, God's meaning for which it was made. Why this stone is here, why this object is here, why that clock is there. It is that will be seen here. God's meaning in those objects will be seen. And the vivid splendor of his artist's thought. So the three lotuses opened, and then a channel of the mighty mother's choice, the immortals will took into its calm control our blind or erring government of life, a loose republic, once of wants and needs. This is what we have been. Ours is a republic of wants and needs. Then bow to the uncertain sovereign mind, life now obeyed to a diviner rule, and every act became an act of God. With these three lotuses opening out, already a diviner change has taken place. Every act becoming an act of God. What else you want? In the kingdom of the lotus of the heart, now Anahata, the fourth chakra, Anahata. In the kingdom of the lotus of the heart, love chanting the pure hymeneal of love, sweetness, joy, beauty, it is that has opened out here, made life and body mirrors of sacred joy, and all the emotions gave themselves to God. Emotional being now is only bhakta, he has become a devotee fully. Then the third one, the fifth one, the navel lotuses, Swadhisthana, navel. Lotus's broad imperial range is proud. So this is a place where we have got ambitions, lust, desire, all these things are present there. Ambition and its master lust were tamed into instruments of a great calm sway to do a work of God on earthly soil. Just the opening of the fifth center. Then down below, in the narrow nether center's petty parts between the navel and the Muladhara, in the narrow nether center's petty part, his childish game of daily dwarf desires was changed into a sweet and boisterous play, a roam of little gods with life in time. And then finally, in the deep place where once the serpents live, that is the Muladhara, down below. There came a grip on matter's giant powers. So you want to conquer matter, it is that center which should be fully awakened. Muladhara. For large utilities, what for? Matter's giant powers for what? For large utilities in life's little space. That those powers open out for life. A firm ground was made for heaven's descending might. Unless that material base is firmed up, there is no point in calling heaven's might here. If the heaven's might comes without that preparation of the material base, everything gets shattered, everything will collapse, everything will break down. So matter's base has to be prepared first before the heaven's descending might appears here. A firm ground, that is the Adhara, bhumi, which is prepared by this one. For large utilities in light space, a firm ground was made for heaven's descending light. Behind all reigned her sovereign deathless soul. Now all the seven centers have awakened. Behind them, who is there? Her deathless sovereign soul. Casting aside all its veil, so now the veil of ignorance has gone. Allied to gods and cosmic beings and powers, so it is in connection now with the cosmic beings and cosmic powers and the gods. It builds the harmony of its human state. Surrendered into the great World Mother's hands, so she is now offering entirely to the World Mother. Only she obeyed her soul supreme behest. What is World Mother says, only that alone she will go by that. In the enigma of the inconscious world. A secret soul behind supporting all is master and witness of our ignorant life. That makes the person's look and nature's role. So in fact, this is the whole summary, this is the whole basis of the yoga. A secret soul behind supporting all is master and witness of our ignorant life. When? He is master and witness of our ignorant life. When? When our soul is found. When the divine power is seated in the half-opened lotus of the heart.